Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this installment of Mike's Vehicle Vlogs, and I want to thank you for joining me today. So, this morning, we have to go take a look at my sister's Fiesta again. Because if you haven't seen the previous vlog, we had to try to fix an overheating condition that the car has had for quite a while now, and I thought we had actually narrowed it down to a what they call the degauss bottle. It's basically the coolant reservoir pressure tank. It was leaking. The car was losing coolant, and we put some dye in it, and the dye was coming out the bottom of the degauss bottle. So thought maybe that was the cause of the overheating issue. However, it's been a little over a week. My sister sent me a video on the phone, and the car overheated again. So now I was thinking that the cracked or punctured coolant tank was probably the result of the overheating condition, and the issue was probably existent before the bottle cracked. So I'm not very happy about this. The bottle had to be replaced anyway, but the video she sent me, of course, the car is maxed out in the red, and I'm really hoping that new bottle is still in good shape. So I'm trying to figure out what exactly is going on here, because the car, even when I had it after I did the repair and we drove it, I monitored the temperature with the Altel, which we're taking with us. Didn't have any weird overheating issue. It was running fine. Matter of fact, the majority of the time that I had the car here, it was under 200 degrees, which is perfectly normal. So I'm not sure, even when the camera wasn't on, I drove it, I let it sit for a while, I had no problems. But it does appear that the car will overheat all of a sudden if it sits long enough. For her, it's usually when she's getting her morning coffee in the Dunkin' line, and the line is always out into the street and stuff, so the car is sitting in one spot for a while, and that's when it seems to happen. So we're gonna do a Ford pinpoint test. So I logged into service data. I'm gonna try to complete as many of these tests that I can this morning to try to narrow down the culprit. There could be a few, there could be a few things that I can't do, but I'm going to try my best to try to do all of these outside of the shop with what I have. I did borrow a pressure tester, so we're going to pressure test the system and see that the coolant system is not losing pressure anywhere. We had a whole discussion about pressure in the last vlog about this whole situation. Pressure in the cooling system is very, very important to keeping the coolant below boiling point. And the only other, I've got a couple of ideas here that, of what it could be. My first thought, honestly, is the cooling fans. I wonder if we have a cooling fan issue. There weren't any codes that came up for the cooling fans when we last scanned this car, but we're going to obviously do a rescan. I'm sure the P0217 code is back. That's an overheating condition code, so we'll look at freeze frame. We'll see what the temperature was when that code was set. The last time that code was existent, the car was at 239 degrees Fahrenheit, which is hot, really hot for that car. And I'm just hoping that it's something that we can take care of really. I don't want to say easily, but hopefully it's hopefully there's really no leaks. The dye didn't show up anywhere else other than the coolant bottle the last time. But we'll put pressure in the system. The car is going to be cold. It is like 35 degrees out here this morning, so the car is going to be cold. Hasn't been running yet today, so we're going to head over there and we'll look at the pinpoint test, see what the test is telling us to do, and we'll go from there. So let's get a move on. Well, there she be. There she be. Let's try to get down to the bottom of it. It's not that often that we do a what do we call it? On location video. Oh, it is a lot colder than it was supposed to be today. Okay, now that we spent half a year trying to get that plugged in, let's go ahead and get our key on. Turn all this stuff off for the moment. Let the Altel boot up. Okay, so while the VIN is loading on that, let's take a quick look under here to see if we lost coolant. And no, we did not. Actually, looks like it's still right about where it was. Anything new? You see the dye still, in there. So if there is a leak, for sure, it will be very apparent. If it's an external leak, there's no sign of the dye back there. Remember in the last video, that's where our leak was coming from originally with the old bottle. So it does appear that there is no leak at the actual bottle this time. Yeah. I don't think there's really anything wrong with the oil. Let's find out. Nope. Oil looks good. Which is what I was expecting. We just did an oil change on it. It's been, over 1,000 miles now. But obviously if it was an internal leak, could have been getting into the oil would be milky. This is not milky oil. That is still good clean oil from the looks of it. So I don't think that's our issue. Man, I'm in the sun. I'm still freezing. Holy crap. I should have got a better jacket. What? Well, now I'm checking codes. Right, we'll just do an auto scan on it again. There's our fault code for our overheating condition. Right there in the PCM. While this is doing that, I'm going to try to pull my phone up real quick and try to access the pinpoint test by logging into Ford service data. And that way we can see what they want me to start off with at first. Alright, 100%. Let's look at our code. Read codes. Retrieve CMDTCs. This is actually the first part of the pinpoint test. So, is DTC P0217 present? Again, engine coolant over temperature condition. So yes, it is present. Let's check our freeze frame data real quick. It logged in 239, so same temp as it did last time. Looks like it was at idle again. So again, sitting as to be expected. Yeah, 0 miles per hour. So it's doing it when it's sitting, which, it's, to me, it seems like an airflow problem. That's why I am wondering. What? No, I'm off today. What? No, I'm off on Mondays. So anyway, so this is leading me to believe that, you know, I honestly feel like it's a fan issue or something, or maybe even the actual radiator is messed up somewhere. My initial idea, and this is just me thinking, I could be wrong, but if it was the actual water pump, I think it would be overheating consistently whether the car was in motion or not. Like I said, this seems to be happening a lot when the car is just sitting still for a little while. I don't think there are any leaks. I could be wrong, but I don't think there are any leaks anywhere. We will find out. So I'm really wondering if this is an airflow issue for the, you know, going through the actual radiator. Could be a fan issue. The fan could be bad. We could have maybe a bad relay. I don't know. So I'll just leave this up like that. Let's move on to the next point of the test, because yes, we do have a P0217 present. So the next part of the test is to check for airflow obstruction. So let's see if there's maybe anything in front of the radiator or the AC condenser behind the grill. Obviously, if there's stuff blocking the front of the grill, then there's not going to be any airflow. But there again, that might also lead it to be overheating even if the car was in motion, if there's no airflow. But judging from what I see here, I don't really see anything. There's one little leaf down there, but that guy's not going to do anything. I can't even get to that from under here because of the shield, I don't think. No. But I really don't see anything blocking anything. I mean, it's got some chips and stuff, but that's inevitable. That's not going to really do anything. So if there's nothing there, I really doubt there's anything in front of the radiator, which is right here. It's not a very big radiator. Here's our fan. Kind of wish I brought my flashlight home, but I don't think that's going to be our problem. Alright, so from what I can see, I don't see anything obstructing the radiator or the AC condenser. So I shut the camera off, got my phone out, tried to look in there with the phone and light. I didn't see anything. So the next part of the test is to check for the operation of the cooling fans, which this is what I was kind of wondering. So the test says to start the engine, place the climate controls function to the max AC position. Obviously, when you're running your air conditioner on max, the fan should automatically be on, because we need that air to draw across the AC condenser. That actually helps with the proper function of the AC system. Okay, so we'll just show that. Start it up for a moment. Alright, so let's put it on max AC. It's got to be cold, I believe. We'll do that. Do it just like they say. Now it's saying fan control off, engine cooling fan no fault, max AC. That fan is not running. That fan is not running. Yeah, max AC. Okay, so that's interesting. Now granted, it is freezing out here, so I don't know if that's going to make all the difference on whether that fan needs to run or not. Engine temp is building, which is normal for, you know, the fact that it's still cold and that thermostat's 100% closed. That fan is not running, so. Well, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I can't get into the service data that I need to get into to actually pinpoint the fan directly. The site keeps crashing on me. So, I'm gonna have to act like I'm at home. So we don't have any fan. This thing has been on AC max for a while now. In fact, I'm actually kind of hoping it starts to get hot so I can see what's going on here. It's at 158 right now. There's still no faults or anything being seen here. So there's no fan. I'm probably going to start starting off with relay tests. Maybe I gotta find the relay for it, maybe swap it out with another relay that's not needed right away. Where's the connector? At the bottom, it looks like. The connector for the fan's at the bottom of the fan. So, probably going to see if I have power going to that, if I can. I did bring my multimeter. I can't sit in there, it's freezing. But if it starts to get warm, then I want to see if the fans will, you know, kick on. Obviously this is doing nothing with the AC on. There's no fans at all. I don't think I need to pressure test this system, to be honest with you. That level is pretty much exactly where I had it when it left a week ago. And we could see the dye. And I don't even smell coolant. I don't smell anything. I don't. Like the last time before this was actually fixed, you can smell the coolant. So, thermostat is probably going to be opening here in the next few minutes. It's almost at 180 degrees, and I'm going to let it run. But I have a feeling this fan is the issue. That fan is not even attempting to shut on. It's really weird that it says there's no fault or anything with it. Kind of concerning. There's usually circuit codes or something with that, you know. But we'll see. I'll give it some time. Let it sit here and get warm. Let's see what it does. Alright, so here's what we got so far. I actually turned the heat on because I can't feel my hands. My hands are freezing. But it started cooling the car off, obviously. So I shut everything off. It's at 172, so it's climbing back up there. According to the owner's manual, since I couldn't get into the actual workshop data that I needed, according to this, there are 2 relays in the underhood fuse box. It might be one fuse because it's in the same spot. So F2 on the box. Right there. So yeah, it's like one relay apparently. But there's a 40 amp side for the cooling fan. It says cooling fan relay, and then underneath it says 60 amp for high speed cooling fan relay. So there's 2 relays there in that little thing. I don't know if I can actually swap those for another, you know, because since it seems like there's 2, you know, the way that thing's built in, perhaps. I mean, I've never had to deal with this on these newer cars yet. This is a first for me. And if that relay was bad, like if I pull that relay and you actually simulate that the relay's bad, it may actually set a check engine light and throw a code for an actual, you know, for a fault. So if I go pull that, it may actually set some faults, but it's actually leading me to believe that maybe the actual fan could be the problem. Maybe the actual fan is not working. So let me go underneath there and try to open that box, and we may do that just for the heck of it and see what happens. Alright, so it's at 185 degrees now. Thermostat should be opening. I located that relay after you fight to get the box off. So we're looking at the case like this. The sun, I know, is in the way. So that would be F2 right there, which means it's this guy here. I don't know. You can see into it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. There's one over here that looks just like that. So I honestly think that relay is good. Just from the looks of it. Let me see if there's any other fuses or anything related to that fan under there. F34 says the same thing. The 60 amp side high-speed cooling fan. It actually shares the same relay or fuse with the transmission control module, the TCM. I think that's good because you know, we have transmission operation. I think that's it under there. Air conditioning clutch, yeah, that works. So that's probably, I'm gonna just say those are not our problems. There is a, what's this, relay here. Okay, so relay 50 high-speed cooling fan, protected component. So, there's also an R57 relay, cooling fan relay. So there's two more. And then there's a fuse box behind the actual glove box, but I don't think there'd be anything in there for that. So I'm looking at this box here of, you know, fuses and stuff in the manual again. I went out here. I'm going to tell you guys something. I got a little bit of confusion going on. So we already established the fact that this relay here, or fuse I should say, this is number 2, that is for the cooling fan relay, I think it said. Hold on, let me make sure I got my wording right. Flip back one more page. Let's see. Yeah, so fuse 2, cooling fan relay 40 amp and 60 amp high speed cooling fan relay. So we established that that's there, and I believe it's in working order. And then if I turn the page again, bear with me, there we go. So we have F34, transmission control module, and high-speed cooling fan. So again, they share the same fuse, and according to our diagram here on the box, 34 is here. So this is the same exact one that we noticed, the same design, and they both look the same there. So I'm moving on. I told you guys there was an actual relay, R50 high-speed cooling fan. So when we look at our box here, 50 is that big square right there. Right there. I'm a little confused. Actually, I'm really confused. There's no relay there. No relay. It's an empty space. And then if I turn the page, there was one more location for a relay. Hold on, these pages are very thin. Okay, so R57 cooling fan relay. And 57 is the last one in the corner here. So that's that guy. we're missing this. And I'm a little confused. I can't tell if there's any contacts in there or not, if that's supposed to be there or not. In the manual it says there's supposed to be a relay there, but there's not. So yeah, I'm a little confused by that. Like I said, I can't tell. Hey, so I just realized something. So 219 degrees, fan control low speed on. So yeah, so low speed fan should be on. I did shut the hood a moment ago. No fan. No fan. So low speed fan did get commanded on. And we got no fan performance at all. It's really weird. It still says no fault though. That's so crazy that it's not setting any codes. I mean, I don't know what the actual code criteria would be for those fan circuits. Probably varies by code, but the PCM apparently is telling the fan to kick on, and we don't have a fan. We are sitting at 230 degrees. The fan is still commanded on. The gauge was up one more peg. It appears to have just gotten back down. I think the wind is actually blowing in the direction of the front of the car, so it may actually be helping the car a little bit. But either way, I am seeing that there is a fan that is supposed to be on, and it simply is not. It is not on, even at low speed. So I think what I'm going to do now is I think what I have to do now is I need to regroup and think of another plan of attack to try to figure out that relay. I'm going to try to log back on the service data again and see if I can look more into that. Yeah, that's bizarre. Alright, so I reconfigured my screen. I wanted to see how long this car was actually running for. I've had it running for an hour and 20 minutes for it to get this hot, just sitting here. It is now at 239 degrees. Everything still says no fault. The gauge is at the very last mark before it enters the danger zone. So I would expect high speed control to be on very, very soon. Very soon, in fact. Engine coolant temp status, no fault yet, also. Alright, so it bumped up to 239, or 240, I'm sorry, almost 241. It backed off a little bit, I think, like I said, because of the breeze. But I have no high-speed command or control being seen here, so I think we're going to shut it off now. I'm going to leave the key on because I want to see, how long it takes to start cooling off. It's already kind of dropping, which is good. So let's open the hood. Yeah, I think unfortunately we're going to have to continue with this diagnosis later on. I'm still bummed out about that. I mean, I'm going to look into that. One thing I would like to see before I leave is if I can get that connector. I don't know if I can on the fan, but I at least wanted to see if I can hook my multimeter up to it and start it back up, since there is a command going to the fan. If I see anything coming through to the multimeter, then that's probably just going to rule out the fact that we need a fan. And maybe that missing relay has nothing to do with the fact that the fan's not running. So Yeah, it's starting to cool off. It cools off pretty quickly. That's good. That's one good thing about the cold temperature, I guess. So again, I tried pulling up service data, and I still can't get onto the site. It's still giving me problem loading. But either way, I should be able to, you know, pull that connector off if I can get to it without burning myself. And at least either way, it'll just be reverse power, you know. But see if we have power going to that fan. And I'm going to say if we do have power going there, then obviously all of this stuff should be working fine. I'm just kind of throwing that into the pot, even though I don't have the wiring diagram because of the fact that I can't get into service data. So, but if there is power going to that fan, either way that fan should be spinning, should be on. And as we've seen, at least for a while anyway, the PCM was trying to tell the low speed circuit to at least start cooling that car down, start cooling the fan down, or the engine, and we obviously didn't have that. So the gauge has dropped back to the normal range, 228 degrees, so it is cooling off fairly nice now, which is good. So let's see if we can get that plug undone. Alright, so I was able to crawl underneath, get the fan plug done, or undone I should say. Is all my stuff still highlighted? Did I lose everything? No, there we go, show. Alright, so car's at 215 degrees now. So like I said, I unplugged the fan. Still says no fault, which is weird. Start back up for a moment. Now I don't know which wires are for what, but I got my meter underneath there, which is actually cooling off really quick now. So low speed fan, oh, it was on, now it's off. If I turn the AC on again, compressor, I'm still not seeing any command with that, which is weird. Don't tell me I gotta wait for this to get all, oh, loose. Okay, so fan is on, the control's on, okay. So let's take the multimeter out there and see if this is going to be kind of tough for me to show you guys probably. Well, we'll turn that on and see if we're getting any power. Like I said, I don't know which is what. Oh, where'd it go? Here. Yeah, so there's our connector. It looks alright. Looks clean. So now I gotta try to get my my leads in there and see if we have any reading. Like I said, you're probably not going to be able to see this because of the position that I'm. Okay, guys. That was a tough spot, but with the multimeter on the terminals. Shut this off so it doesn't get too hot again. But with the multimeter on, I wasn't getting any reading down there to the connector. Now that could also be because the connector is actually kind of tight, kind of small. I don't think I have my little paperclip things in my thing to try to probe into them. But I think they got lost. They did. So I gotta make new ones. But it appears there wasn't any power going to that. Now I don't know where that connector goes. I was, could check for continuity from there, work my way back. Since I don't have an actual wiring diagram, I can't really do any of that stuff. And unfortunately, I'm gonna have to start wrapping it up. Alright everyone, so I'm sorry. This ended up being a lot messier than I was expecting. I was really hoping that I was able to have the data, diagrams and schematics and stuff, that obviously would have made this whole process a little bit easier. There seemed to have been a lot of confusion coming up throughout this initial diagnosis, all because I wasn't able to get into the service data that I kept mentioning over and over again. So I don't know why, but you know now that I've been home, for hours, I logged in. I actually got the information that I needed, and I can now kind of explain to you guys and show you guys how the system in that particular car is supposed to work. According to the owner's manual, no, there were like 5 different relays and fuses and such that controlled, fans, and several fuses said there were 2 different amperages and stuff. However, what I honestly failed to realize was that it depends on the model. So when I actually logged into service data and made sure I had the schematic for her engine in the car, which is the non-turboed 1.6 liter 4-cylinder, able to find the right kind of schematic. And now we know how the system works, and I'm going to show you guys what I've found out since I've been home, and our next plan of attack, basically. Alright guys, so this is the schematic for the battery junction box, which is basically the whole fuse and relay center under the hood of the Fiesta. I know for a fact that our F2 fuse, which is here, we did look at that one. It did say that it was powering, there were 2 different amperages, a 40 ampere and a 60. So if you look here in the actual Ford service data, it does list them both, but it says the high-speed cooling fan relay part of that fuse is only for the 1.6 liter, like the turbo in like the ST models. So her car would only have this 40 amp fuse, which is just for powering the cooling fan relay. So that's one mystery solved that we were kind of confused about. And then there was another fuse that was the same. Offhand, I don't remember what the number was. But F25 down here in this area here is part of the schematic for her car. If we look here, it does say high-speed cooling fan relay and then R50. That is the relay that is missing out of her junction box. However, I come to find out that that relay is not applied to this because of the fact that it does not have the turbocharged 1.6 liter. So that spot in that fuse box is supposed to be empty. Another mystery solved. And I do believe, I don't think it's on that list, but yeah, as I was looking at the schematic, this relay is not in there at all. So that is only for the ST and maybe the 1 liter. I think there was a 1 liter Fiesta. I don't know if it was available in the States or not, but I don't remember. And then there's the one down here, R57. That is the only cooling fan relay in the system on her car. So that narrows that. So basically, fuse F2, fuse 2 takes a part in this system. Fuse 25 over here takes a part in this system, and R57, relay 57. Those are the 3 components that make up the relay system in this particular car. Now for the actual schematic, as we can see here, this up here would be our power side of the junction box. The relay is right here, and then here would be the fan here. It says with air conditioning and without. I didn't know you can get a Fiesta without air conditioning, but we obviously have AC. So this would be our final ending here for the cooling fan motor, and then the PCMs here. So what we were looking at here is fuse 25 that we looked at in the fuse block is only powered when the car is in or the ignition is in start or run mode. So basically when the key is on, that is when power will start to flow through this part of the circuit. The other half, fuse number 2, which again, 40 amp all by itself, that 60 amp is not there. So the 40 amp fuse is hot at all times, so that's going to get direct power all the time from the battery source, and again it'll power up to here. And then what we are looking at from there is basically the PCM, which we did see on the scan tool, commands the fan on. So once the PCM commands the fan on, it grounds out the rest of this circuit, which will energize the little magnet in there basically, and it will close this end of that relay, which will then allow the hot at all times circuit, the 40 amp circuit, to be completed, and that'll obviously get our fan to run if we have a good ground also. So that is basically what we are looking at. Now we know for a fact our fan is being told by the PCM to turn on. So this is where we're at. So basically, now that I know how this system works, and like I said, I was really hoping I would have had this information earlier, but technical difficulties. So this is where we're at. We know that we didn't get any power at all to the fan connector, at least when I tried. I will obviously retry again once I can properly get under the car, but you know, we didn't get anything going to our connectors at the fan motor. So we're basically going to start this diagnosis from scratch, you know, all over again. So we know that at least we know for a fact next time that, we still have coolant. No visible leaks. If need be, we'll definitely do the pressure testing. In fact, I think after the fan part of that pinpoint test, the next thing on that list would have been to pressure test the system, look for external leaks. So that would have been next. But obviously in the pinpoint test, you follow it in the correct order, we have come to our first situation where it didn't pass the pinpoint test. That's the fan. My initial thought after all of this started taking place. So now, the next thing I plan to do once I get the car back, and again, I was actually supposed to have the car all day, but she ended up getting called into work, so that's why we had to kind of wrap everything up, even though it was getting kind of messy, and I don't care for that at all. I wanted this information, and I wasn't able to get it. So, but next time I have the car in my possession, I don't know when it's going to be. It may actually be during the night, like the nighttime hours. We may have to actually try to get a light outside and work on this, because she can't keep driving with this situation. I want to get to the bottom of it. But anyway, so this is where we're going to start. We obviously have to look for our powers. We have to properly, inspect the fuses. We can actually pull the fuses out, check continuity on, the fuses. We can look up the information on how to actually test the relays. We can play Swaptronics with the relays. Now that we know that, there's only really one relay that is running this whole show on this particular car. So we can swap relay to see, if the relay is the problem or not. And obviously we have to check for our grounds. And, that's pretty much where we're at, So, so now that we have the information in part 2, we will properly actually start going through this and hopefully find the solution to the reasoning of why this fan isn't working. And that's that. So, again, I'm sorry if this vlog seemed, kind of messy, all over the place. No real answers. Very frustrating that it didn't work out as much as I'd hoped. But that's why I do these vlogs, I'm going to document my whole process. even if it is not really working out in the way that, you know, I hope. But that's what we're gonna, you know, that's why I do this. It's all a learning experience. So the next time that the car is here, you know, we've got our information now. We can actually take action. We've got a plan, and that's where we're gonna start with next time the car comes back. So stay tuned for the second part of this video if you're still interested. And other than that, if you did find any of the content in today's vlog interesting as well, give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. Check out teespring.com/store/Mike's Vehicle Spotlight for all of your MVS and vlog merchandise. So that's it, guys. I will see you next time, and I want to thank you so much again for watching, and take care.